everybody. It is January the 13th, 2018. Wanted to give you a quick update. Sorry if it's been so long since I've done an update, actually almost a year ago, 11 months. And actually the images and videos you saw then were almost 6 months old. So it's really been about 2 years of the layout progression. But great news, I've been doing lots of stuff and lots of modeling and scenery work. So let me give you a little tour. All right, take care. So not much has changed on this side of the layout other than the bridge over here. The mountain certainly has done a lot of change since you saw it last. And now let me give a quick preview over here. And now I'll show you some of the work I've done and catch you up on a few shorter videos. So the mountain last time you saw it was not existent. Here is where it's going to go. You can see some of the chunks I put together here to create it. Lots of different chunks, even put a bit of a slant for the top surface for our farm to go. All right, so here is the mountain. It's pretty well under or completed construction. So this is going to be our farm on the top level here. We have you know, some different, and again, I've tried this method where I built it out of foam, but then I used printed, just like cardstock printed on a regular, you know, what's it called, inkjet printer, some images of rock that I took, some panoramic, and then the first time I've ever done any backdrop, again, those are panoramic images off my iPhone, and pretty impressed with the way it's turned out. So, and there are seams because I just print out 8.5 by 11, but actually it looks really good on the camera. So I'm going to be having the tall fake fir grass right up to the backdrop there, so it should do pretty well. So let me see, and then I think, and I have a photo of this double portal that was just made out of foam, and then I added some molding and cornice with a little bit of foam core, and then some of the sheet foamy material, and then they gave it a, you know, a solid gray color and a little bit of misting with spray can for the exhaust up there above. Let's see. So in finishing the mount, it does have a way to get in to you know, rescue trains if they get stuck inside. Just I made a hinge out of just some like canvas cheapy fabric, glued to each side, and then I painted over it so it's pretty much waterproof under the scenery, so it won't get glue in there. Now over here I have some old Chooch Enterprises portals that I had on salvage from previous layout, and I'm gonna paint those up. Those need to be painted, so those are a little work we have to do. But anyway, glad the way it turned out, and that's the mountain as it is now. And I'm excited to start doing some bushes and trees. I have an extra piece of foam here that I have some toothpicks stuck in, that I just have the branch bunches from scaletree.com on there. There's a little bit of wood and scenics on there, just to have a little variety, but I definitely prefer the darker gray, kind of a charcoal gray color. Alright, so I'm going to put the fake fir back here for some tall grass. As you see, I've already cut it to size, and I have, let's see, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces cut, and I use Elmer's wood glue for this because the benefit of the wood glue is it's waterproof, and because I'm going to be doing other scenery like the ballast, things like that afterwards, I don't want it to come loose, so I'm going to use this waterproof glue. I've tried glue gun, but glue gun doesn't stick as well, and it's hard to really get a full coverage of the whole underside of the fabric with a glue gun. So the wood glue I've discovered works what I would consider the best of what I've tried so far. So I'm going to stick all this down. Let me move that, and this one I put a mark to show where that one starts, because that'll be my key piece that I put in first. And the reason I put that one in first is it's the biggest, and it needs to cover with this little hill, which will make a little grassy bank. Let me show you the. See, it's just a little piece of foam that I carved, just a small little grade to a small little hump. All right, so let's put my last piece in. And I've changed my method while I was working on this because I wasn't sure which way would work best, if I put the glue on the surface or put the glue on the fabric. So I tried both ways, and I think I liked it going on to the surface better. Seemed to get less on the fur. Anyway, tuck that back in the corner there. And if you press too hard, the glue comes up through the back of the fabric, which you don't want, because then it starts getting all the fibers matted and glued together, which you don't want. I want it to go over that little bank. And one thing I needed to make sure I did was on the back, that I went all the way down like that to make sure that the idea is that the grass will go over a little bit of a berm or a hill there, so it kind of disappears and takes away the horizon line of the backdrop. So anyway. Okay, so in this time lapse you can see I'm clearing out the space to put the faux fur, the tall grass, and I brushed it away with the brush. Now in the back along the that embankment, I don't need precise measurements. It just needs to be a little strip of the tall grass to go down the hillside, or at the bottom of the hillside. So putting the carpenter's wood glue there, spreading it around with a little bit of water just to make it flow better with a brush. I'm doing these different areas like that. This area needed to be a little more precise, so I cut it to the general shape of the road, tacked it down with the glue gun just so it doesn't move, and then going along the edge, I tried it with an X-Acto blade, but that was just not the way to do it. So then I learned that if I tilted it over and used a Sharpie to mark where it needs to be cut, then I could cut it with the scissors, which worked quite well. Then once I added the glue all the way to the edges with a little bit of water, and then I followed the front to cut it off, just following the foam fascia in the front. I discovered that in this area over here, when I wanted to follow the line, the easiest way to do it was not to do it with an X-Acto knife. Easiest way was to pull it back, as you saw, and then I have a Sharpie, and I'm marking the underside of the fabric, you know, 1/4 of an inch from the edge of the roadway. Again, it's not, we're not measuring medicine, as my dad used to say, so it's okay if you're not perfect. And then it's fabric, so there is a little bit of flex with, moving it around, massaging it into place once you put the glue on it. But that became the best way, and then just to, then I could see where to put the scissors and to cut the back. And then it was kind of hard to tell in the time lapse, but once I'd put it down, I would use the blunt end of the Sharpie and just kind of, do this number to make sure that the glue is pressed up into the fabric backing. Okay, so tonight I'm going to work on coloring this grass. Now I did an experiment. As you notice, this is shorter than this. I did an experiment just a moment ago that I bought at Big Lots for $15. A Remington hair, basically a what's it called? Hair clipper. And so I just ran it through here with it on. It's very quiet. Just makes a hum. I just ran it through here a bunch. You can see how it gathers up and cuts it off. So anyway, because this is going to be a nice lawn that someone has actually intended to cut. So I did that experiment, and then I always have to brush the faux fur afterwards. And once the brush fills up, I'll get this comb that came with my hair clipper and pull out the extra stuff and throw it away. So I have the street sweeper here because definitely I got a lot of this little particles of hair everywhere, fur everywhere. So the colors I'm going to use for the Sharpies is a dark green, actually it's a kind of a medium green, and then we have the bright green, and then the yellow, which the yellow is really incredible to make just all the colors pop. Then I have the gray, which is really just in case I put too much color, which I really don't get to use that much. And then of course the orange. Over in this area where I've already done, you can see where I use some of the orange, which just kind of highlights some of the areas. Okay, so I started applying the color. Now this part of the video I've sped up twice as fast, which is about 2.5 minutes of time lapse, but it's really 5 minutes. But anyway, you can see I'm using the medium green, which when it comes out on the gray, it actually looks darker than the pen top. But anyway, this is the color it is. So notice I'm using the side of the pen. Now I'll go to the bright green and continue coloring in. It's good to get a good random pattern as opposed to always going one direction. Sometimes circles do well, and also you want to get to the edges without drawing on the road, things like that. But the green does well. As I continue, use the yellow for a moment, but went back to the medium green, just to color this main lawn area. You'll notice that the lawn area, I wanted to have a darker green. This is a test sample I used after cutting it down with the clippers. So yes, I wanted the area near the road, the longer grass, to be a brighter green, whereas the lawn to be a darker green, like it's a really rich, thick, probably a fescue, something like that. So the yellow does well at just really making the colors pop, and it will turn that darker green to look less of a blue. For some reason that green on that gray looks a little bit bluer than I want it to be. So that will help that. Again, the idea is just to keep changing colors every once in a while, kind of do a section and then change colors and do another section. It's really not adding layers as much as, because there's so many fibers, every time you're going a different direction with a marker, it does get different fibers or the different sides of those different fibers. The orange is great to just add a little accent. I like to put it where I think someone might have sprayed for weeds, or just a little variety happens. And again, the yellow is great to make the colors pop, especially with the orange. It helps doing yellow right after the orange, helps to kind of diffuse it a bit and tone down that intense orange color. Alright, so about 3 minutes later, I did more of the dark green, the light green, and the yellow in the main lawn area, and I'm pleased with what came out of it. So, alright, so here's a closer view, and see our backdrop in the background. And so it's over his ankles, but anyway, it's shorter grass than it was. And I'm pleased with the way that the taller grass in the background looks like it's a separate thing, but it's actually the same piece of faux fur. Here are some other views of the completed tall grass in this valley area. And on the next update, we'll be looking at the trees that go in this area. Thanks for watching.